Hello, my name is Yasmin. It's a pleasure to be in front of your screen right now. If you don't know, now you know. It took me such a long time to get to this point of even having the confidence to be in front of your screen right now. So if you're anything like me, you understand what I mean when I say this. It's been a long time coming. I actually had my first experience with working in media right here in Clarksville, Mississippi. Actually, it was a workshop. I worked with Magnolia Films Company. We ended up doing, a story about the bright spots in our community, and I wrote mine about Griot and Meraki Cafe and the way that the programming of that changed the lives of some of the people who were involved in it at the time. And that story ended up being picked up by the New York Times. So from there, I got to experience what it's really like to work as a freelance writer, a freelance photojournalist. And that kind of inspired me then to do the work that I do now, with understanding how important and valuable it is for us to be able to tell our own stories from our perspective, because the Mississippi Delta is such a different place. What we experience here in the Delta is so unique to any other region in the world, because we're not only are we in the south of North America, we're in Mississippi. And Mississippi, if you know anything about Mississippi, we always get the most criticism about what's going on here. Um, and I think it's past time for that narrative to change, because as we see so much of the problems that we see in the world, such as global warming, we see mass violence, we see um, terrorism, and even now it's 2025, we see planes falling out of the sky. And honestly, in my opinion, none of those problems really affect the Mississippi Delta, but these are the things that you hear being spoken about in mass media. So I feel like there is such a disconnect between what we see versus what we live and experience. And I really wanted to create my platform as a way to bridge the gap between what's going on in the world and what's going on here in the Mississippi Delta, because despite popular opinion, we really are the birthplace for a lot of what Americans and people outside of America would consider American identity. For instance, the blues. How many of y'all knew that the blues was founded right up the road? That's not a trick question. It was literally founded right up the road. If you go look in the middle of Clarksville, Mississippi, we have the crossroads, which is supposedly the junction where the birth of music, blues music happened. And we'll get to that at a later time, because I have very strong thoughts about that. But I say that to say that who we are, what we do, why we do what we do is so important. And before we get to the point of being able to discuss what matters in national news, we need to understand what's going on in our region. Then from there, we also need to understand what's going on in our local areas. And what good is it to know, understand what's going on in your local area if you haven't done the work to understand and know yourself and your own gifts as a person and what you can contribute to that. And I think at in 2025, a lot of my journey has gotten me to the point of understanding that it's not what you do, it's who you are that matters. And a lot of people in the Mississippi Delta don't have the experience or the opportunities to be able to know and understand themselves outside of this bubble, to know that who you are matters in such a more profound way than what anybody can tell you. Nobody can tell you who you are and what you do and what your gifts are. Only you can cultivate that. Only you can identify that. And of course, there may be people and role models in your life here and there who tell you, you did such a good job at this. You had success doing this and failed at that. Um, but it takes really the personal conviction to be able to identify with what your personal gifts are and how you can use that to contribute to the world and the society around you. And so here we are today, March 1st, 2025, and I'm filming my first episode of Uncoded TV. And I am so excited for what this podcast can be because I don't want it to exist in a bubble. It's so important that what we do is not, it's so important for me that what I do is something that everybody can identify with, because real, whether you do it here, whether you do it there, is going to translate. If you're keeping it real, everybody can understand it. And I just want y'all to make sure that y'all can understand me, because I mean what I say and I'm saying what I mean. And it really comes from a place of authenticity, because a lot of the messages that I share and that I will be sharing, and the people that I do bring on, these are people who I can relate to, and we'll talk about experiences that we really had in a way that everybody can understand. Because I'm sure there's somebody right now who is listening to me, who is seeing me pop up on their screen, and they wondering, how did she get there? Like the Yasmin that I met in 2015, the Yasmin that I met last week, like I never would imagine that I'd be scrolling through my screen seeing her talking to me like in this professional setting on a podcast like she's some celebrity or something. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. But I think that the difference in the Yasmin that you may have met a few years ago and the Yasmin that you see now is that I have a bigger understanding of the fact that who I am, nobody can duplicate that. And the people that I've put in this our world to serve, if I don't do it, I can't count on anybody else to serve those people. So the same way that I didn't want my role models and my mentors and the people in my life to give up on me, I think that it's important for me not to give up on you guys. So this podcast is a by any means we gonna make it happen experience. And so I thank you and appreciate you for supporting me, for liking and sharing, and for being a part of this journey with me, because things may look so different in a year from now. Things may look so different in a month from now. But I mean, if you stay the course, no telling where the Lord will take you. So this is one of those times we're going to stay the course, stick it with me. If it gets boring, mute it and keep the video playing. Okay? Okay? Yeah. If you ask any of my teachers, they'll tell you I've always been smart. She always been extremely confident. But if you ask me, that was never the case. And it baffles me when I hear people ask me questions like, how are you so confident? How do you do this? How do you do that? I don't know. I just do it. And I think that that's what's missing from a lot of people. We make excuses for why we don't do what we do, why we do what we do. The point of it is, whatever you do, you need to understand why you're doing it. And if you can understand why you're doing it or who you're doing it for, it would bless the work that you do in a spectacular way. Because a lot of things that I've set out to do in my life, I didn't expect to be good at it. I was interested. Sure enough, I was interested. But I mean, who gets it right on the first try? Nobody. I made the decision in 2023, November of 2023, to pitch an article to one of our new local newspapers, Clarksdale Advocate News. Shout out Clarksdale Advocate News for being a refreshing, modern, digital newspaper that so many people can easily engage with in the Mississippi Delta. It's been such a pleasure to work with you guys. And I believe that if we continue the work that we're doing, we'll see masses of people become more engaged with news. We'll see more people seeing the positive things going on in our community. And then we'll also see more businesses being able to collaborate with each other, because now we know what's really going on. And that's an issue that I've seen since childhood. So it's been a blessing to be able to work with an organization that sees the value in contributing to that. In December, they announced me the best news reporter of 2024. which is something that I'm so proud of. It wasn't intentional, y'all. I've just always been blessed as a writer. And I say again, that's why it's so important to go after the things that you want or to pursue the gifts that you have as opposed to chasing money, as opposed to chasing popularity, as opposed to chasing what looks good for you. It's important that you chase the things that come naturally to you, because if you explore deep enough, you'll realize that it was a reason that you were blessed with that gift. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that we face in today's society, is that we feel so constricted to perform, to show up, to be a part of the algorithm, to be a part of the popular crowd, that we forget the fact that before all of this social media, before TV, before baddies, before any of it, we just had us. And even before people built mass communities, all you had was your family, and all you had was yourself. So if you can't contribute to yourself or to your family, there's no sense in saying that I have something big enough to contribute to the world around me. Service the people that are around you. Show up for the people that are around you, and watch what that gets you. And I think a big example of that is me working right now with Trent Calvin. Like, Trent Calvin has always been around as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know of. But I never thought, we had work to do. Like, I'm not a model. What do I need a photo shoot for? But here we are today, and I'm sitting in Trent Calvin's studio, and he's producing for me. Like, this is epic. Like, it's important to know who you are as a person so that you understand how you can contribute to the grand scheme of things. And it took a long time to get to this point. I'm 26. Like, this is something that I said something that I said I would do when I was 20, when I was 19. You mean to tell me it took 6 years for me to book with Trent and do my hair and makeup and come sit down in this chair? No. It took 6 years for me to have the confidence, the experience, and the conviction to say that it's time to do it. Stop running from what you should be doing. Just go for it. So, yeah, I don't take it lightly that I'm here in front of y'all screens, or that I have the opportunity to even just sit here and have these top dollar cameras on me. It means a lot. um, yeah. Yasmin, as a child, I think she would be so proud of the person that I am today. And I think she would also understand that there were so many experiences that I didn't have to go through, or that I should have went through. And it took going through them to understand what the lesson in it all was about. Um, I'm very privileged to be able to know myself at the level that I know myself today, because a lot of people, experience trauma, they experience experiences, they grieve, and emotions like that can kind of leave you stuck in a certain time period. Like, you have people who are like 38 years old still walking around with the same fears they had when they were 12. And I can't fault a person for that. I'm blessed that that's not my experience. And I also come to you today to say that it's okay to work through that. And it's okay to let go of the baggage that weighed you down from years ago, from childhood. It's okay to let that go, because it's merely physical. It's merely spiritual. And if it is a spiritual thing, that's even better, because the spirit wants you healthy. Your spirit wants you well. Your spirit wants you happy and healthy. So, whatever you have to do to overcome that, whatever new habits you have to develop to feel more confident and give yourself a stronger aura, I say do it. It may look vain. It may look like you're ignoring and not giving priority to things that you used to give priority to, or to people that you used to give priority to. But like I said, your mission isn't to those people. Your mission is to yourself and to the work that God has given you to do. And by following yourself and following your gifts and following what comes easier to you, you'll fall more naturally into what's meant for you. Yeah. Um, so you can expect to see me more often. Um, hopefully in a good light. Hopefully in good lighting. And I'm open to collaborating with organizations, nonprofit, um, for profit. We can do business as well as, sponsors. I'm into beauty and fashion. I'm into health. I love wellness. I'm big on, I may not eat the best, but I get up and do me a little walk, take me a mile or something. So as far as collaborations are concerned, I think everybody should be trying right now to collaborate with me. Um, just because we want a message that resonates with everybody, not just somebody. And I have a background in political science and advocacy, but I'm also very big in hip hop. I love music. I love culture. I love understanding, how the grand scheme of what's going on in policy and in media, how that affects us as people and our relations to one another. And yeah, I think there's a lot of work that would be done by simply having conversations, and not only having those conversations, but having those conversations in an authentic way, without placing, you know, gatekeep gates to that information. So this should be available for, watch on YouTube and Instagram and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So yeah, tune in sometime. And I'm excited. If you think that you will be the next guest on my show, please get in contact with me ASAP. I'll leave contact information in the description box for everybody who's interested. So yeah, I look forward to hearing back from you.